next book that I'm going to be talking to you about is this book called The Forest of Enchantments by Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni. I had done a book reading session on this book, which I would link it up down below for you. Even the earlier book, This Guy's on His Own Trip, I had done a detailed, book reading on that. I would link up that as well in the description box. Now, The Forest of Enchantments, I really do not have that book and the next two books that I'm going to be talking about with me right now. It's there in my hometown. This particular book is a retelling of Ramayana from Sita's point of view. That's what is different about this book, and that's what I loved about this particular book. It's from Sita's point of view. It's about her life. Right from her childhood till her, to her Swayamvar, her life in the palace, the exile, how she kind of is brought back, and her life and death even after that as well. Entire life of Sita, basically Ramayana from her point of view. And the way the Ramayana has been explained from her point of view is very intriguing. And it's not just about her life. A lot of women's perspectives have been brought out in this book. Their stories, for example, Ram's mother and Bharat's mother Kaikeyi, even Urmila, Sita's sister, her life, her sacrifices, Ahalya sacrifices, and even Shurpanaga's point of view, Ravan's wife, Mandodri, her point of view. Everything has been, all these women's point of views, their perspectives have been brought out very beautifully in this particular book. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I generally enjoy reading mythological books, and this one I enjoyed it all the more because it was from a woman's point of view. So please go and grab a copy of this, guys, if you really enjoy mythology. The next book that I'm going to be talking about, again, I don't have a copy of it, is The Bastard of Istanbul. I did a detailed review on this book in my earlier video, which again I will link it up down below for you guys. The Bastard of Istanbul revolves around this particular girl, Asya, who's a 19-year-old girl. She doesn't know who her father is, and that's why the book's name is The Bastard of Istanbul. She's the bastard, basically. And on the Kazanzi family of Istanbul. Kazanzi family, a strange thing that happens there is that the men in that particular family do not survive beyond a particular age due to some mysterious thing that happens. And they are a family of about 5 sisters, and one of them has a daughter, Asya, their mother and the mother's grandmother. So there's only one male in the member in the family who's surviving, and they kind of send him off to US so that he can survive the longest. He gets married to a lady over there who is already a divorcee, and he has a stepdaughter, like basically that lady's daughter from her first husband. Her name is Amanu. She's of the same age as that of Asya. Asya is kind of a very carefree girl. She doesn't kind of adhere to the traditions or the family, rituals or traditions, cultures over there. And Armanush kind of comes to Istanbul to spend time there to understand the roots of her own grandmother. She's kind of very close to her actual dad's family, that is her grandmother and dad's siblings and all. So she kind of comes down to Istanbul, which is her grandmother's place, and to find out and understand what are the traditions there, what is the culture there, to visit her grandmother's place. And both Asya and Armanush kind of get along well. Asya takes her through the entire Istanbul streets, markets, makes her meet her friends, whom she kind of meets in a cafe very regularly. Asya meets them regularly, and also the way the desserts have been explained, the food has been explained, the entire Istanbul culture has been explained is really nice. The main mystery of the book is basically who is Asya's father, which is revealed in the end of the book. But apart from that, the majority of the book, wherein they describe all these characters, it's a character-based book. Let me tell you that, because the characters have been explained so much in depth, and not just that. Like I said, Istanbul's culture, streets, markets, food have been brought out very nice. I really enjoyed reading this particular book. Please go and grab a copy of it pretty soon. Now, the next book that I want to talk about is it's the last book basically. It's called Becoming by Michelle Obama. The former First Lady of US. In this book, she actually talks about her life right from her childhood till the time she quits, the White House in the year 2017. Now, her childhood has been a kind of filled with hardships. She comes from a modest family. They did not even have a roof of their own. They did not have a house of their own. So they had to live at their aunt's place, on the first floor of their aunt's house, wherein they had a 2-room house. And so she talks about her relationship with her parents, with her brother, with the aunt, her piano lessons, how her family has been quite supportive of her. They've made them to be kind of very strong and work hard really well. The way they have fierce dinner table conversations. She's been quite meritorious and studious girl, Michelle herself, and she kind of gets scholarships to move into not just one but two Ivy League colleges, Princeton University and Harvard Law School. Ultimately, she graduates from Harvard Law School, I think, and she lands up with a plush job for herself, about making about $100,000 a year. Now, after that, she kind of meets Barack Obama, her soulmate. Her relationship with Barack has been beautifully brought out, the way they get married, and the way also she talks about how Barack doesn't give her enough time because of his interest in politics, which she was not at all okay with, and the difficulties that she had to go through in delivering her daughters, Malia and Sasha, because she had to undergo IVF for delivering them. The way she, without any inhibitions, she has brought about this openly in the book. It's like commendable. And she also goes through, or rather deals with, her friend's loss. She loses a friend to cancer, and this kind of brings about an enlightenment in her. She loses her job, or rather she quits her job and takes up a low paying job to serve the society. Just it just pays her half as the law firm was paying her. And her hardships in dealing with her relationship with Barack itself was a challenge for her, because, as I said earlier, he was not giving her enough time. But she kind of started accepting the fact that he was running for the presidential elections, which again she was not fine with. Still, she kind of supports him. She starts preparing for the campaigns, for the speeches that she needs to give, and wins people's hearts. And the way she and her family kind of deals with all the fame that they get when he becomes the first black president of US. And not just that, her life after becoming becoming the first lady, she is kind of different. She just doesn't use her title, but she kind of serves the people with her title. There are various initiatives that she undertakes. She takes care of the military families, the spouses, the military men. She takes care of, or rather ensures that the obesity in the children of US kind of drastically comes down, monitoring the food that goes into the schools. She has a kitchen garden herself, which I think produced about 2,000 pounds of vegetables. She has these frequent interactions with the young kids and the young adults of America, and it kind of inspires them to achieve their dreams. The way she deals with, or rather interacts with, the various heads for the other countries, the way she supports Barack, goes on the campaigns for the second time. All of this have been beautifully described her. It was nothing short of a roller coaster ride for Michelle Obama, right from her childhood till the time she quit the White House. It's like a very long marathon in pleasant and unbearable weather conditions for her. And also the way she gracefully quits White House despite the fact that Donald Trump was not so good to them. It's been brought out really well. There's another book by her on the kitchen, garden project, which I'm planning to grab. But this book was amazing, guys. If there is one woman who can lead US, I felt that it is going to be Michelle Obama after reading this book. She is done so much beyond the capabilities of the First Lady. So please go and grab a copy of it. It's quite huge. It'll take some time to read, but it's definitely worth the read. In fact, if you do not want to read or because of the size of the book, there's also this documentary on Netflix with the same name, Becoming. Please go and watch it. So that's for it, guys, about these 6 books that I talked about, which were my favorite reads of 2020. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back soon with another video with my plans for this year, on my reading plans for the year. So happy new year once again, guys. Have a great weekend and have a great reading year. Goodbye.